What is good, YouTube? Quinway basketball analysis. Stretching my body because we got to talk about a significantly painful thing. Victor Oladipo will have surgery that will end his season. And it's so sad to see it because he was so ecstatic to get back on the court, especially the first couple weeks of the season. He was starting to fill himself out. He was starting to get his confidence back. And then he just had another setback. Then he finally gets out of Indiana. He goes to Houston where he showed that he can do some things, still showed that he could have a little bit left in the tank. Maybe he can be an all-star again. And then he goes to Miami, plays 4 games, and he just looks absolutely terrible in Miami. Not a great defender, couldn't make a shot, couldn't explode enough, just didn't look like the fit that people thought that he would be. They made this trade because they feel like Oladipo can be potentially the piece for this team, and that was their huge acquisition. And it just didn't happen that way, and it's just crazy seeing this man get traded, and he felt like they gave up on him in Orlando. He felt like they gave up on him. And OKC, they paid this man big money to be the co-star with Westbrook, and it just didn't work out as they got rid of him as quick as they could. And then he goes to Indiana. He lights the thing up and become a two-time All-Star and an All-NBA player and an All-Defensive player, and just could never get his body on the same page as his mind. And now we just looking at Oladipo. What is he? He's 28 years old, going through another surgery, and he just looked like a shell of himself this year. It just didn't look right. He just didn't play right, and you could just tell that he was frustrated. I didn't see it when he was on the court, but I just know it has to be because you know what you're capable of, you know what you want to be, and you know what you're trying to get back to, and he just couldn't pull it together. And this had to really just destroy his mentality, seeing that he has to go out and can't even play for the Heat, and this was their big move, and it's just sad to see it because he worked his butt off. Um, Especially Indiana, to hit those heights. People didn't look at Oladipo as a guy that can have that season, and he proved everybody wrong. And he was hungry, and he dedicated his body and his work ethic to being the player that we thought could possibly be the number one pick in that draft. But he ended up not doing it. But it was because of that explosiveness and that two-way play and a slight playmaking ability that made him so special and stand out. And he had an NBA ready body and game. And it was just about adding that jump shot that can really unlock his potential of being a great scorer. And we've seen a little bit of that in Indiana when he had the ball in his hands and he was able to probe, he was able to attack, he was able to let that thing fly with a green light. And it was his best season. The season where people really wanted to know, what is Oladipo? What is he going to be? What should he be? He was able to show us that. And you looked at Indiana as a team that was one piece away from being a legitimate contender in the East. And this is because Sabonis, the next season, ended up becoming a better player than we thought he would ever be. And he would now become a two-time All-Star. But it just lets you know that it can be some huge concerns for him because this is a season where he has bet on himself. He felt like, get me in Miami and I'll figure out the rest. And now how much money will he even get paid? Like, he took a gamble already on his career and it paid dividends financially for him, and it also built up his brand and the respect level around the league and throughout the world. But now, having these 3 basically bad seasons and then ending it with a surgery after you didn't play well this entire season for the most part, it just let, what is he now? Like, what's our expectations right now for Oladipo? What do we look at him and see right now? And that's going to be the question for a lot of GMs. That's going to be the question for Pat Riley, who was mutually interested in Oladipo. and got him to Miami because they felt that he could be a difference maker for them. And him having the season that he had for Miami and then getting his surgery, and he already was out of it before he even got to Miami while playing in Houston. He couldn't even stay on the floor consistently there. And now, I do wonder at 28 years old, um, what his career really holds. What are we going to see? What is he going to do? What is he going to be? Just because we just haven't seen it in years. Like that sounds crazy. He was just at the top of the mountain. We looking at him as a guy that has huge potential. Then a guy that has arrived, and now we look at him in the prime of his career. What is he going to bring to the table? What is he going to get? Just because we don't know, we really don't. And I have to be real with you, as a person that knows Oladipo, he probably doesn't know right now. He probably doesn't because his head got to be shell shocked just because we just don't know what he can he even stay on the court for 60 games. Can he even play a 82 game season without this happening? Like this guy been not even able to play at points because of these injuries, and they just continue to pile on, and it's just sad to see. We was up there looking at Oladipo as a rising star that was just about to take over the league, possibly going at LeBron in the regular season and beating him, going head to head against LeBron, King James, and taking them seven without really a legitimate supporting cast at that time. And now we just look at him as a guy that is he even a legitimate starter right now in this league? If he can't shoot and if he can't stay on the court, how much money should we give him? Should we even give him a 3, 4, 5 year deal, or should we just rent him just to build up his value, to see what's his value, or to see is he even physically ready to conquer a full season? And we don't even know when he's going to be back either. So that hurts his off season too, because you don't even know when he's going to be healthy and ready. And when he comes back, what is he going to be after that? Because he hasn't even been able to figure that out the last 3 years, basically, at this point. And it's just crazy how things happen. That's why I don't think a lot of people say you can't take it for granted. One minute you in the league making big money, next minute you fighting to be in the league or you out of it. That's how what I just said, even about the buses. Like a lot of these guys, they love playing basketball, but so many people is in and out, and some people are just permanently out. And I don't think Oladipo is going to be a guy that's going to be out within the next 1 or 2 years. But he has took such a drastic fall for where he was before. It does make you wonder: is this the end of him? Because he hasn't been able to do much when on the court. And then when we see the glimpses, we just see the reality of the toll that it has took on his body and his play. He just don't have the consistency anymore, and that's what you're going to need if you're going to be a huge piece to a team that look at you at that. And he just hasn't been able to put that together for multiple years now. So as a person that loved that he bet on himself, loved that he had the season that he had in Indiana, loved how he played, how he guarded, how he fought, loved how he went out there and approached the game, and to see where he is now, where I really don't even know what he brings to the table at this point after the surgery. It just shows you how quick things can change and how quick things can go. And it's just sad to see that it happened to Oladipo, a guy that's very humble, well balanced, and very dedicated to his craft, but also a guy that really took pride in being a competitor and put the work in, and also wanted to defend the best players and go at them on both ends of the court. And to see him not really even be able to stay on the court for multiple seasons, it's just sad to see. It really is. And I was a person that was excited for him, and now I just don't know what the future holds for him at this point. This is something that I didn't want to see when I looked up the news for the NBA, but we knew eventually that he was going to have to try or do something to possibly extend and resurrect his career. Now we just going to have to see who are the teams, who are the suitors that's going to be willing to give him a chance. As the draft is coming, for agency is coming, and he has to really just be able to get back on the court and contribute. That's where he's at in his career, and that's a painful place to be when you was a guy that people definitely would keep. Now you're a guy that people have to figure out how to use you and figure out a role for you. That just wasn't the case a couple years ago, and a couple years later, we look at Oladipo and wonder what happened, what's going on, and now we even wonder what he's going to be in the NBA, and that's just sad to see, but it's reality right now. But other than that, let me know. Do you think Oladipo can get back to an All Star level? Do you think he's just a starter? Do you think he's going to be a six man, or do you think that Oladipo is just going to be a rotation player, seventh, eighth guy that can give you a spark, give you some excitement, make some plays, but can no longer play big roles or big minutes? Or will you do you think his ability to be confident in his abilities can get him back to at least being a valuable asset for a team that really wants to take a gamble and really wants to help him get back um, to being what he can be the best version of himself, basically. And now we basically in a situation where we just got to wait and see what he is and what he's going to be. But the saddest part is he just hasn't. He hasn't been close um, to being the same, and he has tried and tried, and it continues to backfire on him every time so far. And this has just been happening for years at this point. And just when we think we got Oladipo, he has another big setback, and it's just sad to see it happen to a guy like him. Other than that, I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully. Quinn Wade, basketball announcers, I'm gone. And let me know what you guys think about Oladipo, his career, and his future in the comment section below.